Hi, my name is Wendy Victor Hess, author of Sweetness Without Sugar, and today we are going to learn how to make an infusion. So making an infusion is super easy. There's a couple different ways to do it, and I'm going to show you a couple different ways today. And you can use a lot of different combinations of loose tea and herbs as well. We're going to make a nettles raspberry combination today, and I'll talk about some of the other options as well. So I usually buy loose nettles, or I also have a lot of friends who grow nettles. I've been trying to grow nettles and haven't grown it real well yet, but I know that I will. And so you can get it from local people if you have a resource. If you live in this area in Charlottesville near where I live, there's lots of people that have it and grow beautiful plants. Otherwise, you can purchase it at health food stores, often in the bulk section. You can also find it in a company called Mountain Rose, which is online, and you can purchase it from them online as well. So it usually comes, it's a larger leafed plant, but it grinds up. When you're buying the loose nettles, it becomes much smaller, and they make the leaves much smaller. So we're using it with the sifted and cut nettles leaves. And to make an infusion, you can do a couple different things. You can use in a mason jar this size. I usually make a quart at a time, so this is a quart, and you can put 4 tablespoons of the herbs that you're using directly into a quart-sized jar like this, or oftentimes I just go ahead and use a French press, and this one happens to have a stand for the French press, and I go ahead and I take it out, and I'll go ahead and put the herbs right in there. And this is very convenient to do, and I'll show you why as we go along. But to make an infusion, you use 4 tablespoons for 4 cups. So it's 1 tablespoon per cup of water. And I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of nettles. I think I'll do 3 tablespoons of nettles. And then I'm going to go ahead and use 1 tablespoon of raspberry leaf. And this looks a little bit different. Each herb looks a little bit different. And I'm going to take a tablespoon of this. So that gives me my 4 tablespoons, because I am going to go ahead and use 4 cups of water. And that's it. You put this in here, and you take boiling water, which I've already boiled, and you fill it up. If you're using the mason jar, you would fill it up all the way so there's almost no air. You'll put the cover on it, and I'll show you what that looks like too. In the French press, you go ahead and cover this, and you don't plunge it. You leave it up at the top. As you can see, the herbs are floating up at the top right now. And you leave it like this, and you cover this with a towel so that all the steam stays in, and the healthy nutrients and medicinal qualities of the nettles and the herbs can have a chance to steam and be in your infusion. So we'll wrap this with a towel. Now, if you did do it in a mason jar, you would do the same exact thing. Put your 4 tablespoons, if you're making a quart, into your jar, and you would cover it all the way up with water. And then on top of it, you would put the 2 pieces that usually come with your mason jars right on top. And you would let it sit. And so you let both of these sit for at least an hour. And I oftentimes will do this at night before I go to sleep. So I can just leave it, cover it with a towel for the French press. Cover this. You don't need to cover this with a towel because it's already completely sealed. And then I just go to sleep, and then in the morning I'll come down and I'll plunge it. Now, if I don't make it at night, or I want it during the day, I'll let it sit for an hour covered with the towel, and then I'll plunge it after that hour. And you'll see, you can already see the change in color in just the little bit of time that we've been sitting here and talking. So it will infuse more of the qualities into the actual water, and you'll see the color turn deeper and deeper green. So this is delicious on its own. It's also great to have and mix with smoothies, which I'll show in a different video as well for my green smoothie video. You can also, if you don't like the taste or it's too herby tasting for you, you can always add some stevia to taste. I recommend using the liquid stevias because they're easier to just mix into a liquid. So some of the brands that I recommend are this New Naturals. They use filtered water in their process, and they use the stevia side type of the plant and part of the plant of the stevia plant. And the other brand that I recommend is the Sweet Leaf Stevia. This happens to be a vanilla cream flavor. That's a nice thing about the Sweet Leaf brand, as well as they have lots of different flavors. So they've got a vanilla and a raspberry and a root beer and a grape and chocolate and all sorts of different things. So you can have stevia with a little bit of a flavor, which is really nice to add to like a sparkling water. If you wanted to make it a grape soda, you could use a grape flavored stevia and add that to your sparkling water. And these infusions are incredibly nutritive. Nettles is filled with all sorts of healthy nutrients for you. Some other ones that are really great are alfalfa. And looking for alfalfa, be sure to buy the organic. They are starting to genetically modify alfalfa plants, so be sure you know the source. Mountain Rose is a good source for that, unless again you're purchasing it from local growers that you know what they're using and you know how they're growing the plants. Also really rich in a number of nutrients. So adding these to smoothies or having them just as part of your daily intake is really great, or weekly intake. So even if it's not something you're going to do daily or it doesn't work in your lifestyle, it's, as you can see, it really does not take much time at all, and it's something really an easy way to get some extra greens and nutrition into your life as well. So with the French press, after an hour or overnight, whichever you decide, and once it's covered with the towel, you can just plunge this down, and so there's no straining that you need to do, which is really nice and convenient, especially when you're really busy or you're making it really quickly or you're trying to get out the door and it's not real convenient to take the time to strain it. The straining doesn't take that long. It just requires a little bit of extra. So what you would do is you would take this same mixture, which would be in the top of the jar here, and you would just pour it into another. You would get 2 jars. So I'm using my Nettles jar, for example, and let's say that this is my infusion that looks like this, where the herbs will be up at the top. They'll still be pretty much at the top, but the liquid will be a different color. And you'll take this and you'll pour the infusion. So all of the liquid you'll pour, and you'll take a tea strainer and put it at the top of another jar like this, and you'll be pouring the liquid through here, and all of the herbs will stay here in the strainer and all of the liquid will filter through. And what I recommend is to just push on the herbs that you want to pour it all the way through so that the wet herbs do fall in here. And then what you do is give them a little squeeze so that you're really extracting all of the nutrition from them. And you can, push on it with your fingers. They'll be wet, and you just push it through at the very end, and then the rest of the liquid will come through. And you can use this in your compost. Really great for replanting and very nutritive from that perspective as well. And give it back, comes from the earth, give it back to the earth. So really easy and simple to do, and either option works really well. So it really is just what works for you. And we're going to go ahead and let this sit for a little bit, and we will use it in a smoothie in another video. So you can see for green smoothies, I add this in sometimes to add some added greens to the smoothie and added nutrition, and it tastes really good too. So, and if you don't like the taste, it's also a really nice way to put it into a smoothie with fruit and other things that you do like, so that you don't taste it, but you still get the bonus of all the added nutrition. So really nice ways and options either way. So enjoy, thanks.